More new cars are launching right now than people are actually buying them. Every single day, another one rolls out. And by the end of this month, 5 more are landing. Some are facelifts, some are brand new from the ground up, and one of them might already be walking into its own funeral. Stick around, because by the time this video ends, you'll know exactly which one of these 5 is worth waiting for, and which one could be dead on arrival. Oh! And if you're new here, hit subscribe now, because this channel tracks every single one of these launches before they happen, not after. Let's start with a car that's been forgotten for almost 4 years. The Maruti Suzuki Brezza hasn't seen a real update since 2022. For years, in that same stretch of time, rivals have pushed out entire new generations while the Brezza just sat there, quietly aging, especially inside the cabin, where it now feels like a relic next to everything else in its segment. But that's finally changing. The company has already teased the update, and the new Brezza is expected to launch on July 24th. Here's the twist, though. From the outside, almost nothing has changed. Same DRLs, same taillights, no fancy connected light bar. Same silhouette, just a new grille, reworked bumpers front and rear, and fresh alloy wheels. That's it. And the interior, the one place that desperately needed a transformation? Spy shots suggest the same steering wheel, the same dashboard layout, just a slightly bigger screen. So where's the real change hiding? Under the hood. Right now, the Brezza runs a 1.5-liter naturally aspirated petrol that gets slapped with a heavier tax bracket, while rivals running 1.2-liter engines undercut it on price every single time. That's about to flip. Maruti is expected to drop in a new 1.0-liter turbo petrol, the same unit found in the Franx's turbo variant, producing around 100 horsepower and 148 newton-meters of torque, a move that could finally let the company price the Brezza to actually fight back. The old 1.5-liter engine isn't going anywhere, though, and a CNG option is expected too, given how well it's been selling. But this is just a warm-up. The next car on this list isn't just getting a refresh, it's getting reinvented. The 2026 Toyota Hilux is expected to storm into India on July 28th, and this time, Toyota didn't hold back. The front end is almost unrecognizable, new LED headlights, Toyota lettering replacing the old badge, a massive honeycomb grille, and a rugged new bumper below it. Around back, fresh LED taillights and a redesigned bumper. New alloy wheels sit on the sides, though the overall silhouette stays familiar. But walk inside, and this is where Toyota finally silenced everyone who called its interiors boring. A 12.3-inch infotainment screen now dominates the center console. The driver gets a fully digital instrument cluster. There's an entirely new steering wheel, badge and all, and a redesigned center console housing all the four-wheel drive and off-road controls. Genuinely satisfying stuff for anyone who takes this thing off a tarmac. Under the hood, though, don't expect fireworks. The same 2.8-liter four-cylinder diesel carries over, pushing out around 204 horsepower with somewhere between 420 and 500 newton-meters of torque, backed by proper four-wheel drive for serious off-roading and heavy-duty work. Solid, dependable, unchanged where it matters most. But the next car on this list has already failed once, and now it's getting a second chance it might not survive. Because before we talk electric, we have to talk about the disaster that came before it. The Kia Syros, in its petrol form, never found its footing. People roasted its design so mercilessly, they nicknamed it after a hatchback. Not exactly a compliment Kia was hoping for. Now comes the Syros EV already teased, launching this very month, with its full range and battery specs already out in the open. 2 battery options are coming. A 42 kilowatt-hour pack promising around 443 kilometers of range, and a bigger 51.4 kilowatt-hour pack claiming roughly 526 kilometers, though real-world numbers will almost certainly land lower than that. With the smaller battery, the Syros EV produces 135 horsepower and 255 newton-meters of torque. Step up to the bigger pack, and power jumps to 171 horsepower, with torque staying identical at 255 newton-meters. Visually, it barely deviates from its combustion sibling, a few cosmetic tweaks for the EV badge, and an interior that's nearly a carbon copy, which raises a real question hanging over this launch. Can Go Electric save a car that already flopped once? Or is this just a slower, quieter version of the same failure? We're about to find out. But if you thought that was the biggest swing of the month, wait until you hear what's landing on July 23rd. Because next up isn't just a car, it's a weapon. The Mercedes-AMG 53 Hybrid is set to launch around July 23rd, and everything about it is built to overwhelm the senses. Under that long hood sits a 3.0-liter turbocharged inline-six petrol engine, paired with electric motors and a plug-in hybrid setup, all routed through a 9-speed automatic gearbox. Combined output? A staggering 585 horsepower and 750 newton-meters of torque. Numbers that let this thing rocket from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 3.8 seconds, and keep pulling all the way to a top speed of 280 kilometers per hour. And it looks every bit as violent as those numbers suggest: a wide, blacked-out grille up front, sharp AMG headlights, aggressive 19-inch alloy wheels, star pattern matrix taillights out back, a ducktail spoiler, an underbody diffuser, and quad exhaust setup engineered purely for sound. Step inside, and there are 3 screens staring back at you, AMG sport seats gripping you in place, an AMG steering wheel, and ambience clearly designed to make every drive feel like an event. Pricing hasn't been confirmed, but expected to sit somewhere around 1.5 crore rupees. If you got the money, this is the one to lose your mind over. But the story doesn't end on the loudest car. It ends on the quietest disappointment. And that's the answer you've been waiting for. Because our 5th and final car is the one that finally closes the loop. Honda doesn't launch new cars often, but when it does, it usually swings for something big. The new Honda ZR-E technically debuted back in May, but its actual India launch, pricing and all, is expected only by the end of July. And here's the catch. Honda brought this one in via the CBU import route, which automatically inflates the price, expected to land somewhere between 40 and 50 lakh rupees. Under the hood sits a 2.0-liter 4-cylinder petrol engine paired with Honda's dual-motor strong hybrid system, running through an eCVT gearbox, producing 184 horsepower and 335 newton-meters of torque. Honestly, for that kind of money, the power figures aren't thrilling. But the strong hybrid system redeems itself where it counts: mileage. Honda is claiming around 23 kilometers per liter, which is genuinely impressive for an SUV this size. It looks premium, too, with a front end that flashes a hint of Maserati in certain angles. Overall, it's a good-looking, well-built SUV held back by one thing: a price tag inflated by import duties, undercutting the very power figures that price should have justified. So there it is, the fate you were promised at the start. Out of these 5, the Hilux and the AMG 53 arrive with real teeth. The Brezza gets smarter rather than bolder, and the ZR-E looks the part, but pays the import tax for it. But the real gamble, the one whose fate is genuinely unwritten, is the Syros EV, a car trying to outrun its own failed first impression. Now it's your turn. Drop a comment telling me which one of these 5 you're most excited for. Hit like if this saved you an hour of research. Subscribe so you don't miss a full launch breakdown the moment each one drops. And go watch our video ranking every SUV launching in India this year if you want to know exactly where these 5 will land.